today I'm joined with Lisa, Vin,
Hi.
Claren, Rob, Bill, and Kinga is holding the phone. Hey, so we have quite a few people here today, which is awesome. So today we're going to talk about 12 tips to be a better real estate agent, and we've kind of talked about these before, but they're always good to sort of go through again. So we're going to start with if you're the seller's agent, buyer's agent. Your client's going to put an offer in, or they've got an accepted offer. You want to check the open expired permits to make sure there aren't any. You can do that on the county tax appraiser website. Put in the address, it'll pop up the permits. And hopefully they're closed. So once a permit is closed, that means it's actually been inspected by the town or city and they signed off on it, and then the work was all done up to code and done the way it should have been done. When the permit's either opened or expired, then that process never happened. So potentially, the work wasn't done correctly or properly. So there's potentially can be a problem. And then if your client is executing an as-is contract, they own the property then with the open permits, the expired permits, and then there can be fines. So just check on that. And then the other thing, kind of in that same vein, is to make sure that everything is permitted. A lot of, unfortunately, people cut corners and don't get stuff permitted. So you might see, it's a 3-bedroom now, but it had a garage, so it's a garage conversion, and then you go and look on the appraiser's record, and they never pulled a permit. So again, the risk for that buyer is the city or town can come in and give them a hard time, because the work was done and never permitted. So it'll kind of come back on you. It's very easy to do. It takes 5 minutes. You just look, you see the permit, you're all good. The other thing is verifying the square footage. Lisa had one where unfortunately she didn't verify, and the square footage was one thing, overstated on the MLS. And less on the property appraiser's record. So was a problem. The appraiser caught it when he did the appraisal. If he didn't catch it, then that buyer would have potentially bought that house thinking the property was X number of square feet larger, and then potentially could have came out in the future. So again, it's something that just takes a little bit of time to do to make sure that what's on the MLS, because really the MLS doesn't count. What counts is what's on the tax rolls. So the tax rolls rule. That's why the appraisers use the tax rolls, because again, that's what counts. It's as if the work has never been done, quite honestly. So again, like we'll talk about a garage conversion, they've converted the garage, and I've asked a couple of appraisers, but they view it, it's a 3-2 with no garage. They appraise it as a 2-2 with a garage. Now the thing is, a garage and a 3rd bedroom are worth about the same value. At least that's what a couple of the appraisers said. So it won't really affect the appraisal, but again, you kind of get the point. So the buyers then, the biggest risk for the buyer is that the city comes in, and they make them get a retroactive permit, and then they got to kind of go through, do that, and then make sure everything's up to speed. So permits and square footage, very important. The next thing is, to review the title commitment that comes from the title agency. They're very complicated documents. I mean, usually what I do is just ask them if there's anything the buyer should be concerned with. Their lender's going to be looking at it, but you do want to, kind of look through that and make sure everything's good. You always want to keep in mind the home inspection and financing contingencies. We talk about that here really kind of ad nauseum, but it seems still every so often, an issue comes up around that where, the agent didn't fully understand, if you're in the inspection period, the operative words are canceling the contract. If you're in the financing period, you want to make sure they've got their loan. If they haven't, like yesterday, I had a financing contingency expired. I emailed the lender I mean, we don't have the clear to close, but you know, it does look like everything is going to move forward. So there was no need to ask for an extension, but you definitely want to check on that. Always, if you can, get a seller's disclosure. It really puts a couple of good things happen. It puts the seller, you know, they're kind of on record of having said this is, you know, what we know about the property, and then they tell you things, hopefully, that might come up in the inspection. That way your buyer already knows them, and there's less likelihood that they can become a problem, you know, during the inspection. Try as best you can to work with a good home inspector. That's very important for kind of saving, you know, issues down the road. I mean, we have one. His name is George Longo. We like him very much. Happy to refer him. But he's awesome, and you know, he does a really very thorough job. And again, now, so we'll talk a little bit about if you're the listing agent. So now, as the listing agent, again, we'll talk a little bit more about, you know, the expired open permits again. So basically, one of the questions on the seller's disclosure that your client will fill out is, are there any any work that's been non-permitted? Are there any open or expired permits? So there's a specific question that asks about that. If they've done non-permitted work, I mean, that's fine. You need to disclose it. That would be a material defect in the property, and that should be disclosed. If they have open or expired permits, if they're open, they should try to get them closed, you know, as part of getting the house sold. If they're expired, what they have to do is they have to go reopen it, and again, you can disclose it and sort of, you could probably get away with it. Again, the whole thing is transparency. As long as people know what's going on, and you know, it's all good. So, you know, again, it's the disclosure. I mean, you know, we can't say, oh, go get this permit now. No, you can't, but you would disclose it. I mean, I had a situation where the house on the county record is 1,100 square feet. When they bought the house like 15 years ago, the appraiser sketched the house out 1,500 square feet. You could see it was an addition. So there was an addition with a master bath, master bedroom, never permitted. Just put the addition on. Now, my client, what we checked on was they didn't know. Like, you know, it wasn't like they did the work. Somebody had done the work previously, but it had never been permitted. So we put it out there as 1,500 square feet with a disclosure saying that it didn't agree to the county tax record. So again, you can market it that way, but you got to tell people. It's when you don't tell them, that's when potentially, you know, you can have an issue. So again, and then also in that light, just double check, you know, you're the listing agent, make sure that what you're putting as the square footage actually agrees to, you know, what's on the tax record. I mean, I had another listing, and I mean, it was bad. I mean, basically, they had built a garage, two brand new 2-car garage, didn't get a permit, just built it. So, you know, now it's like, you know, you got to go get the permit because, I mean, again, we marketed it, but we told people, you know, garage seller in the process of getting permit. So again, as long as you tell, you know, more disclosure is always better. It's when stuff isn't disclosed. Again, let's just like walk through that same example. Somebody buys that house and, you know, their buyer's agent, you know, missed it, the appraiser missed it. They now own a house that really, that garage, which is probably worth $40,000 or $50,000 of value, it doesn't really exist. So they go to sell the house. Clarence, the listing agent, she now brings it up because she's, you know, very diligent in what she does, and you know, it comes out, and then that seller is upset because they bought a house where their agent sort of dropped the ball. So again, the square footage, the permits, it's equally important on both sides. You know, a lot of times we're dealing with the other side, right? We do that all the time. The other side, whether you're the buyer or the, you know, representing the buyer or the seller, the other side isn't your friend. They're not your buddy. You're not joking with them. You're not having fun with them. This is strictly business, and you know it can go bad very, very quickly. So you want to keep it, you know, very, very professional at all times, because you know we all have a job to do, and we want to do that job, you know, to best represent our client. So those are the 12 things that'll hopefully make you a better real estate agent. Any questions from the group? Any questions in Periscope land?
I don't see on there.
Yeah, give them a minute.
On
It's
the
like,
permitting, I've had some with permitting, and if you call the people that are listed, you know, on the permits, it'll say, once you dig down, it'll tell you who the inspector was. If you start calling the city, they will tell you exactly where that was in the process of the permit and what they needed to have done, which is helpful, because I had one that was like a $50,000 renovation open permit. It was because a bathroom window wasn't tempered. So is that really a big deal for the buyer if they let that go and they get a tempered window? Not really. We made an addendum that said the seller was going to get the permit closed, but we didn't tell them that we knew it was something very simple. So we knew we were going to go through with it, you know, if that didn't take place. But so you can, if you get to the right person, they'll tell you exactly what's kind of going on there. But it isn't the easiest thing to do to get to the right place. Clicking the right buttons.
all right. Any other questions? Great. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.
I'm not sure what to do.